A TIA, or a transient ischemic attack, isn't just a mini stroke. It's a warning sign. Let's talk about what it is and practical tips that you can put in place today to reduce your risk of a full stroke. What is a TIA? A TIA is more commonly known as a mini stroke or a warning stroke, and it's caused by a temporary blockage of a blood vessel in the brain, typically caused by a blood clot. However, unlike a full-blown stroke, the clot will usually clear on its own. And even though a TIA is considered a mini stroke, it doesn't mean it's any less scary than having a full stroke. And the onset of symptoms is usually the same, including facial drooping or weakness, one-sided weakness or numbness, vision changes, balance issues, and speech and communication issues. If you notice any of those problems, you need to seek emergency care right away. But again, unlike a full stroke, these symptoms will usually go away somewhat quickly on their own, from minutes to around 24 hours, although this isn't always the case. Take it seriously. According to the Mayo Clinic, around 1 in 3 people who experience a TIA will go on to have a full stroke. Now, I am not saying this to scare anyone, but I do think it's important that we understand the seriousness of the issue. It's also important to look at the underlying causes of the TIA and why it happened. Your doctor will likely want to perform some imaging or diagnostic testing to see if they can determine the underlying cause of the TIA. They may look at heart rhythm issues, see if there are any plaque buildup in your arteries, etc. And moving forward after the TIA, your doctor may want to try you on some medications or prescribe certain lifestyle changes for your specific situation. Practical tips after a TIA. If you were admitted to the hospital or you had an ER stay related to the TIA, you'll want to follow up with your primary care physician. You want to make sure that they are in the loop with what's going on with your health, and they may want to do more diagnostic testing and lab work. During and after that conversation with your doctor, it's important to focus on the things that are within your control, usually in the form of lifestyle factors. So depending on your specific medical situation, it may be appropriate for you to stick to a lower sodium diet, reduce intake of highly processed foods, and reduce your refined sugar intake. And this looks like practically reducing consumption of fast food, highly processed foods and meats, as well as things with a lot of added sugar, like the usual culprits, desserts, pastries, bagels, etc. You also want to make sure that you're getting the appropriate amount of physical activity every day. And if you're starting from zero, it doesn't mean that you have to go out like you're training for a triathlon. In fact, it's better to start small and gradual and work your way up to the recommended 30 minutes a day of cardiovascular activity. This could functionally look like something doing 5 minutes in the morning and then maybe 5 minutes at night until you can work your way up. Because the best exercise is not going to be an hour-long high-intensity cardio workout. It's going to be the exercise that you'll actually do. In addition to changing your diet and moving more, if you are a smoker, stop. Smoking is a huge stroke risk factor, and unfortunately, it's just something that you need to stop. You can talk with your doctor though about medications or patches, some different ways that can help make that transition a little bit easier. On a similar note, if you are a moderate to heavy alcohol drinker, you need to reduce your alcohol intake. Alcohol also contributes to higher blood pressure and is a stroke risk factor as well. So if you tend to have more than the recommended amount of drinks, cut back. And if you're not a drinker to begin with, don't start. And for the cherry on top, for two things that go hand in hand, you want to try to get better quality and quantity of sleep, and you also want to utilize stress reducing techniques. So if you have a high stress life, whether that's kind of your personal life, work life, involvement in your kids' life, try to find ways to sleep better at night. And I actually made a video answering the most common questions people have about sleep after stroke, and there are some interesting tidbits that you may find helpful in that video. You also want to try to keep stress to a minimum, and I know that is way easier said than done, but it could be as simple as engaging in some deep breathing techniques when you're having a particularly stressful moment. It may also be including a meditation practice in your everyday life. Or it could be something as simple as taking a long bath to help you unwind at night before bed. In addition to some of those practical lifestyle changes you might consider making, it's important to also follow up with your doctor about medications. They may want to start you on perhaps an aspirin regimen, but I would say do not start taking aspirin unless your doctor recommends it. They may also want to start you on something like an anticoagulant like warfarin or heparin, but it's important to follow up just to see if those types of medications would be appropriate after your TIA. And this last thing isn't necessarily a practical tip, but it's just something I think you should know when you're having conversations with your doctor. They may recommend certain types of surgeries that you need to have if the benefits outweigh the risks after your TIA. This doesn't happen for everybody, but it may come up in the conversation with your doctor, and it's just good to know about. Having a TIA is scary, but take back control where you can. Talk with your doctor about medications that may help reduce your future stroke risk, and focus on the lifestyle factors that you can control. Make the changes now for better health in the future. All right, everyone, that's it for today. I'm gonna be leaving links to 2 of my videos. One is about preventing a second stroke, where I go into more details of lifestyle factors that you can change. And then I'm also leaving a link to my fear of having another stroke video, because having a TIA or a stroke is a terrifying thing, and I hope to give you some advice that makes you feel a little better about the situation. As always, if you found this video helpful, please make sure to leave it a like, and if you're new here or haven't already, subscribe to the channel and click the bell to get notifications on when I post new videos. Post-Stroke is a nonprofit, and you can help us keep our content free, either by giving us a super thanks by clicking in the YouTube bar below, by giving us a one-time donation via PayPal, or by becoming a Patreon member, where in exchange for a monthly donation, you get access to cool perks like social media shoutouts, behind-the-scenes footage, and even YouTube shoutouts, of which I have some today. A huge thank you to all of our patrons, and especially Heather G and Modus Nova in our Empowerer tier. We can't do what we do without you all. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you next time.